So if hundreds of athletes use a product, it must be good, right? Because if you're watching this video, I'm sure that you've seen your favorite athlete wear one of these whoop straps. It's got no screen on it. It's just kind of weird looking. You must wonder, like, what is it really?
And should I get one?
The short answer from our perspective is yes, if you want to make a positive change in your life. But for the membership option, go on a month to month. Don't sign up for a long time from our perspective.
And the long answer, well, that's what the rest of this video is for. So in the next few minutes, we're going to provide an overview of the Whoop and compare it against the Apple Watch.
We're going to talk about how it works. We're going to talk about the benefits, elaborate more on how long you should actually subscribe for, talk about the pitfalls of this product. We found an Apple Watch alternative, which is pretty good, which we'll share with you as well, and then give you our final recommendation about the Whoop.
Now, the Apple Watch and the Whoop Band are two very different products. The Apple product is a smartwatch, so it can basically do anything your phone does, like listen to music, answer and reply to texts, phone calls, and use all the apps on your phone. The Apple Watch's health interface is mainly focused on calories burned, counting steps, and the amount of time you've been standing for. It uses the 3-ring system to help you achieve your daily fitness goals. It also works with different sleep apps to help improve the quality of your sleep. Now, the Apple Watch is very versatile. Essentially, it can replace your phone for the majority of tasks. It's user-friendly and easy to understand. One of my favorite things about the Apple Watch is that you can play music directly to your headphones, so you don't have to carry your phone with you during workouts. Now, the Apple Watch is not the greatest device to deliver fitness statistics. Why? Because it's mostly just keeping track of your calories, steps, and standing time, which at the end of the day is pretty meaningless information. Based on our experience, the Apple Watch is going to be good for general health. The Whoop is good for getting really fit. Can you get as fit with the Apple Watch? When using the Apple Watch, you'll also need to download and try out a bunch of different apps for more insight, which to me sounds a little annoying. Another downfall of the Apple Watch is the fact that you need to remove it in order to charge it. So this means it won't be measuring and collecting data 24/7, which won't give you accurate measurements. But I guess at the end of the day, the Apple Watch is a smartwatch and not a fitness tracker.
Now, through this entire testing period, I actually came across an app that almost does what the Whoop does, but on the Apple Watch. It's called Athletic, but more on that in a bit.
Now, unlike the Apple Watch, the Whoop Band is not a smartwatch. It's a software as a service product. It measures HVR, RHR, and respiratory rate. It measures your strain and recovery daily using one of their own algorithms, making it the device with the highest accuracy in terms of fitness tracking. The Whoop doesn't have a screen at all, which in my opinion is great, as I'm usually distracted by my Apple Watch during workouts. What makes the Whoop special, like we mentioned before, is not the actual band, it's the software that comes with it. This software includes coaching and advice for improvement, highly meaningful data for performance reviews, and sleep recommendations and analysis built in. The Whoop can be charged on your wrist at any given time, which means you never have to take it off, making your sleep analysis and heart monitoring 100% accurate. Now, the Whoop does have its downfalls. Depending on what kind of user you are, these will either be a deal breaker or won't matter at all. Since there's no screen on the Whoop, you won't be able to play music, or anything else for that matter, from the app, meaning you'll have to carry your phone with you at all times. The Whoop, like the Apple Watch, won't measure your caloric burn accurately. There's a monthly membership fee that you'll have to continually pay for, and it's exclusively focused on performance. The goal of the Whoop is to give athletes an idea of how well they recover and to help them predict with relative accuracy when they can expect to be at peak performance. Its target audience is professional athletes or college teams that want their athletes to be at peak performance for big events. This is where the app really stands out, because it lets teams and coaches create groups and monitor the behavior and performance of a number of athletes at once, which when it comes to training and coaching could be a game changer for optimal performance. So I feel like people who would benefit the most from having the Whoop is not us, clearly. To be honest, I feel like that extra thing that the Whoop has, like the teams and all of that, is really cool, but for someone like me, I don't think I could benefit from that at all. Like, I don't work out hard enough to use that. Like, I think...
Or care enough to like compete with other people?
Yeah, that too. And like, I feel like you used it and found it more beneficial a lot more than I did. Yeah, whereas I feel like I'm very normal. Like, I'm a very average. I don't, like, when I go to the gym, I don't go that hard. And like, I found it interesting, like the 1 month I think that I was able to wear it consistently, and I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. The things that I saw on the app was pretty cool. Like that was cool, but that's where it ended for, like, it was just like, this is cool, and that was it. Maybe if I still did like competitive swimming or like gymnastics, like when I was a kid, it would be cool to use with my coach or something, but for a normal person, or maybe I'm just weird, I don't know.
I agree.
That I'm weird, or?
The Whoop is the first fitness product that has managed to accurately track HVR from the wrist. In the past, people could only get HVR readings from an EKG machine, which is kind of hard to access on a daily basis and very expensive. Now, like other high-end bands, the Whoop will track your heart rate and it has an accelerometer to detect when you are moving. Now, beyond that, it doesn't track steps nor GPS locations. Now, what are the benefits of the Whoop? In general, with the 24-hour heart rate monitoring going off every second or multiple times a second, your Whoop is going to collect a pile of heart rate data pertaining to your life. Everything you do and the effect it has on your heart is going to be recorded. Now, the big thing is consistency. Like everything health related, you want results. You need to consistently use the Whoop to get the most out of it, which means answering a pile of prompts after you wake up every single day so that after 30 days, you can get a summary showing you the correlation of what you've done and the effects it has on your sleep and recovery. Now, the first 2 to 3 monthly summaries are kind of cool, but after that, unless you're making seismic shifts in your lifestyle, the subsequent summaries aren't going to be as revealing. Now, for me, the most revealing thing about this entire testing period was that the tiny amount of CBD oil that I took resulted in better recovery than if I didn't use any CBD oil. So, you know, being able to see that was kind of neat.
Was the improvement noticeable on a day-to-day basis?
No. Now, was there anything that stood out in my summaries? Really, no, because apparently when you hit your macros, you sleep better. When you drink enough water, you recover better. When you get lit, eat a pile of grease, you don't recover as well. Now, oddly enough, having Monty in the room didn't help with my sleep. Now, the average Joe, like Val and I, would not really benefit from this based on our experience with it. As we said earlier, it's neat to see the correlation between things that are, well, you know, that are good for you and things that aren't. Well, I know that I didn't really benefit from it that much. I don't know about Val, because she barely wore it 1 month out of 6.
I couldn't, guys, I couldn't wear it.
So again, back to the average Joe thing, it's cool that, you know, we were able to see that CBD made my life better by a small amount. I'm not trying to be a professional athlete or a semi-professional athlete. Like, I like training like an athlete, but I don't care if CBD is going to give me a 0.17% increase tomorrow if I take it today. I'm not taking it today because I'm drinking a Mexican Mule.
They're so good. I thought you were training for the games. That's why you were like doing 3 workouts a day. I was like, for sure you're
training for the
going
games.
to the games. I'm just joking.
Now, if you are a competitive person or a semi-pro athlete, as we mentioned, knowing these things, that 1% incremental improvement day in, day out, is going to count. But as I said before, I drink heavily during the weekends. I crush cake and baked goods when I can, and I watch Disney Plus in bed because, well, I'm human, enjoying life. So at the end of the day, the data is neat, but once you see it all and figure out what works, you really don't need to keep paying for it. And honestly, if you are aware enough about your lifestyle, the things that the Whoop is going to tell you that's good for you, well, it's going to be eat a balanced diet, try to sleep, go and exercise, and don't drink your face off all the time. So how long should you use the Whoop? When I first started using the Whoop, they had 6-month subscriptions. By the time we made this review, that subscription had disappeared. And now you're stuck with a month-to-month, 12-month, or an 18-month subscription. For most people, I think you'll only need 3 to 4 months worth of data before you fully understand your trends. So go with that instead of committing to a 12-month term. Honestly, I woke up a few weeks ago and just hated using my Whoop because of all those prompts. Now, when it comes to pitfalls, we've already explained the data comatose that you go into after using it for a while. That's not the biggest pitfall. The biggest pitfall is when you realize that the band is annoying so that you don't wear it, which means you don't get the benefit of the data. Anyways, you're finding these reviews useful or this review useful, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. Whoop didn't pay us to do this thing. We paid our own money to do all this, and it's been over 6 months since we started using this product, and I'm never putting it back on after we publish this video. So click subscribe, check out some of our other content.
So the band itself isn't something that I would normally wear. I feel like it's got a very sporty look to it. And although I do work out, I would say 5 times a week. I just wouldn't wear it on a day-to-day basis. Like I found myself taking—
Which is still a lot.
I just found myself taking it off when I get home. The band rubs, like it would rub on my wrist, and I have very sensitive skin, which is very annoying. I will get rashes off of anything. So like this gave me a rash, and it just gets very itchy and annoying. So I would take it off, especially when taking a shower, because then the wet band would just be sitting on my wrist and it was very annoying. And then when I would take it off, I would forget to put it back on. So yeah, I feel like for me, it was a little more the look that annoyed me. I found the information that it gave me to be very interesting, but after about a month, I was kind of like, okay, like
if it ain't pretty, girl ain't wearing it.
I'm very flashy and extra in the things that I wear. If you haven't noticed, Aaron has seen a lot of my outfits and questioned a lot of them. And I feel like the whoop isn't something that I would—
It does not go with her wardrobe.
It doesn't.
I could not care less. I'm concerned about the functionality. And 3 months ago, I had a brutal whoop sunband, but I couldn't put it back on. So now the band—
You had a what?
I had like a
tan line?
A tan line from the whoop. Because I wore it outside all the time, but then I got annoyed with doing the stupid prompts every single day. Now the other downfall that I encountered during this testing period was when the strap didn't sit at the optimal spot, which is like a couple inches above the wrist bone. There'd be days where my strain would actually go through the roof because the whoop band recorded like 4+ activities in a day, whereas I only did 2. Like, now it looked like my account was being tied to another whoop band because like the extra activities looked like someone who was doing like high intensity intervals all the time for like 40-50 minutes at a time. Like it was crazy. Like
while you were sitting here having drinks with me, it was like intervals.
Now I contacted Whoop support and they said that was impossible. And the biggest culprit was that my band was not in the optimum place, so light leakage into the sensor was gonna create these weird activities. Now the last time this happened was about 3 weeks ago. The activity that my band recorded occurred when I was picking up my kid from daycare, driving to and playing at the playground. Now I can understand the first 2 humps in my heart rate chart as my kid is small enough that I give him a running piggyback ride back to the car, but somehow during the 10-minute drive home, I apparently did something equivalent to an interval while sitting in my car. The last 2 humps came from me standing around at the playground making sure my kid didn't hurt himself.
Like there's been a few times where I've been playing guitar and the whoop thinks I'm working out. And it goes back to the thing like if it gets the wrong light, if like I do this, it's gonna think I'm working out. So it has to like sit in the optimal spot or else you're gonna get these fake readings and then all the data just falls apart. The last pitfall from our perspective is that wearing 2 devices like the Apple Watch and a whoop is a bit too much. But the Apple Watch out of the box doesn't track the things like recovery and strain like the whoop does, so you know, what can you do?
If only there was an app for that.
I found one. It's this app called Athletic, and it's kind of like a Whoop Lite. Whoop is more like an active monitoring tool, whereas an Athletic is kind of more passive. Athletic tells me how well I've recovered by using the heart rate data from the Apple Watch and calculates how much you've exerted yourself during the day, similar to the strain that you would find on the Whoop. Now, the Whoop and the Athletic app share the same general trends, but it's not exactly the same. I would say that the Whoop is a bit more accurate in terms of how I feel after a heavy day of working out, but over the long term, they're going to tell you the exact same thing. You drink, you're gonna sleep poorly. You eat a lot of crap, you're gonna sleep poorly. Going back to what I said about the Whoop being active and the Athletic app being kind of passive is that the Whoop kind of prompts you all the time to tell you, to ask you how you feel every single day, whereas in the Athletic app doesn't. It's just background monitoring. So, you know, that's the biggest difference between those two. And well, the biggest difference monetary wise is that this is a yearly subscription, the same price as it would be for a month subscription on the Whoop. So you kind of get most of the information you would get from the Whoop at a fraction of the price. And if you have an Apple Watch already, it's just like $26 a year. So that's all we got for this video. Questions, comments, leave them down there. There probably won't be a follow-up Whoop review unless it's like Whoop Band 4.0, and by that time, Apple's gonna buy them out and link them to the Apple Watch. That's my guess. What can our viewers do to support us, Val?
They can support us through Patreon. Hit subscribe, the notification bell, and subscribe to all of our other channels like the cocktails one.
and the fitness one. This one kind of like bridges the gap between fitness and tech. We decided it was more tech. Thanks for watching. I'm sure you've seen your favorite athlete wear this non-Apple Watch looking thing on the wrist, and you must wondering shit. So if hundreds of athletes wear a product, so you must be wondering, oh shit, I just made that motherfucking mistake again.
Should I wait for that to stop?
How long do you have to idle your car? It's not like it's winter.
Thanks. Well, you give me the shitty one?